Hang on then, let me check my audio settings.
That's the first words of this podcast. My audio settings.
Assuming it's just coming through this microphone, so
Off to a great start. That's all I can say.
right, so
Wow. Welcome to the BFF Punch Podcast. Punch, punch. This
yeah.
is a brand new podcast.
But we need like a jingle, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well,
So I
we haven't
mean,
recorded one yet, but we shall record one, shall
what about this? Something like BFF BFF Punch.
podcast. Like that.
Yeah, that'll do.
All right, that's
Uh,
it. We'll just
jingle.
record that. I'll take that snippet out. We'll make it the tune.
Unless you want to do it live every time
We could do it
until we
live
get.
every time. I mean, if I could get this, right? If I
Oh
got
yeah,
this, we could be like or something, you know what I mean? While you're doing it. And that would be kind of fun.
yeah.
Maybe we should. Anyway, what the blazes is this podcast about? What is
Well, I mean, from my understanding, we've got multiple decades worth of absolute nonsense. They're recorded randomly, driving along in the car, on aeroplanes, when we meet up in person, and then just trying to collate it all into some massive, coherent
yeah,
thing,
utter
right?
nonsense. I mean, there's so many characters that you, James, like you've made up over the years. And all of them should make an appearance over time, I feel. That is
I'm
what
sure
we
it's
need, is it not?
that classic thing, isn't it? Like, am I mad or am I a genius? Who knows?
No comment.
A bit of both.
Yeah,
Hopefully, but
exactly. So we've got what we got here?
yeah, go on. Give us a bit of an overview to the lovely listeners and
Well,
viewers. What can you expect over the next however long?
so we wrote a synopsis and figured out I did some research yesterday and found out that Spotify allows you just to do podcasts straight into Spotify, which is really cool. And obviously, having an artist account there already for Lofter, the band that we're in, we that was
Wait,
quite
this is a
easy to
really good
set up.
idea. This is a really good idea. What we should do, we should interject at times when someone says a word that sounds big and like fancy, like
Like,
synopsis.
interject.
Okay, what does that mean? And then explain what we think it means, and it could be anything, right?
Yeah,
But
it's true.
fancy
I
what?
found myself using words that I I kind of picked them up later on in life at this age.
Yeah,
Start using them randomly that I've never used before. But it's almost like suddenly I get it. It's taken decades for me to learn what it means. And then I just start using it. And it might be that I use it in completely the wrong way. So
well, that'd be fun. Even if we do, that's part of the fun. So synopsis, what does that mean? What do you mean by that?
wait, I said synopsis. Oh, no, don't you need to tell me what it means? And I need to say what interject means. That's what you said.
Uh, no,
I
you
said
said
synopsis.
synopsis. You said,
And
so we
you
made a
said
synopsis.
interject, right?
I did say interject. Interject means when one person rudely interrupts the other.
Okay, so
Excuse me, tell me what you mean by synopsis, please.
synopsis. Um, oh, yeah, I don't know. I mean, it sounds like if you're trying to go down a particularly muddy slope, you know what I mean? You might have a
Synopsis.
synopsis and slip all the way down. I don't
All
know.
right.
Maybe
Well, if there's interject, is there also a out eject? I shall back.
it could be.
Language is brilliant.
Or is it
It's
like
just
a
like,
synapse? Synapse. Is synopsis like a synapse? What's a
oh yeah,
synapse?
synapse, synaptic cleft. Anyway, that's for another podcast.
Yeah, I really. I
So
want to know what that is now.
back to the list. What can the
Hold on a second. I'm going to put on the list synaptic cleft. There we go. Right. We will be back in the future on this podcast with a synaptic cleft. You can look forward to that. That will be podcast episode number 22.
yeah boy? Anyway, go on.
So yeah, I thought I'd read the the synaptic cleft out to us now. That I've put onto Spotify. It's Anton James, our BFFs, cruelly separated by hemispheres, time zones, and poor decisions. But thanks to the internet and mild codependency, they reunite to talk waffle, throw verbal punches, and commit audio mischief. It's the sonic equivalent of two squirrels. Squirrels. I just want to say. Why is it that I can't say squirrels normally? Squirrels wrestling in a sock drawer. No one is safe. Guests least of all. After wisdom, wrong turn. After nonsense, chaos, and a punch in the ears, welcome home. Should we start the podcast now?
As well, like things that come up during the show. So, like the word squirrel, you've heard this. I'd love to know if there's anyone German out there who can clarify this, or anyone from the British military, British military personnel who may have insight into the previous goings on during history and World War. And it was that, wasn't it? That story where apparently the British came up with this code word squirrel because apparently the German linguistics can't pronounce it. So, what's the code word? And they'd go, squirrel.
That's cool.
I don't know if that's true. That's one of those
German pronunciation of squirrel. Let's have a look.
I like the fact that we're possibly creating more episode
Yeah.
during
Can Germans pronounce squirrel? There's a YouTube video here of someone who's made their American boyfriend pronounce difficult German words. That's not right. German pronunciation, right. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
We need a dialectic coach, do we not?
Exactly.
Eichhörnchen.
Anyway, so
Eichhörnchen is what squirrel is in German, but
Eichhörnchen.
Eichhörnchen. I don't know, like it's not saying it right at all. There you go. But it doesn't pronounce squirrel in German. That's what we need.
What sort of before we get onto the actual theme of today? Oh, are you recording this, by the way?
Yeah.
I mean, not recording. Stopwatch. So we know when to finish.
Let's have a look.
Otherwise, that classic thing where like an hour's gone by and all we've just done is waffle on about nothing.
Waffled about absolutely zilcho.
Need the listeners to go away feeling expanded of mind, do we not?
Yes, exactly. So what have we got today? I mean, we've got a number of subjects.
Oh yeah, just read it out. Just top of the list there. Just read out 4 or 5 randomly from the list that we've got.
So we've got
this one.
We've got font cropping here.
Oh yeah, font cropping.
We've got somebody's drunk in the southern hemisphere as well.
Probably explain that a little bit more, shouldn't we?
Well, I suppose yes. So where are you based? Australia, mate. Yeah.
Yeah, Australia.
I'm in England, and I guess that one's in the northern, one's in the summer hemisphere. So we either do it in my evening or your evening, right?
Yeah.
So at the moment it's my morning, and it's your. So we see. I'll prove it.
I've actually run out of wine because it's an evening. So that's basically right. That usually we chat at either ends of the day or night, and therefore one of us may or may not have had a few alcoholic beverages.
Oh dear.
Like to loosely.
The kind of phraseology our listeners should expect. A multitude of oh dears throughout the show.
I like that in text message. I've been going, oh, very dear. Oh dear, very, oh dear, very dear.
I exported our text messages out the other day, earlier on today, and it was like 136 megabytes, and it only went back to September
Oh wow.
in PDF format.
Yeah,
Exactly.
'cause I feel like we'll need a list of those to remind ourselves of the content from
Yeah.
decades, messages, and you know what I'm like. Memories like a sieve. Can't remember.
That's right. And here's another podcast title for the future: Dr. James Cornell, clinical psychologist. That was
Yes,
one.
neuroscientist at large.
Yeah.
Keep
And we
the
have
options open.
another one, Battenance.
Maintenance, yeah.
Battenance. And here's
And
one
then,
from a year ago, on Pewters.
oh yeah, yeah, almost a year to the day, right?
It might be. It
That's
might
it.
be.
It will be to the day. Literally, it will
Are you
be.
serious? This was when you were driving
That was when we
like
drove
a nutter.
from north of Cairns down to Beerwah, the home of the lovely, lovely Irwin family. You know, flipping love the Irwin.
And yeah,
Really do.
in 20 hours.
Actually, are we allowed to? Are we allowed to kind of like brand drop? We
I
are
don't
not
know.
affiliated to Australia Zoo or affiliates.
Yeah, yeah, we could do.
We're not trying to get free stuff, although it would be nice.
That's it. Exactly. Exactly. So what have we got? So there you go. That's a few things. We've got naked swimming was another one.
Yeah, I mean, surely that's got to be a top rated episode. And when I say top rated, I don't mean X rated. I
Yeah, yeah,
mean,
that's right.
top of the list. I mean, surely everyone. I mean, on future episodes, this will be live streamed, right? So we'll be able to ask the audience
Yeah.
live who loves naked swimming, who does it regularly, who's afraid of it, you know, who's not tried it but wants to, who doesn't want to try it, all of the variables.
Who's
Let's
been
get into
arrested for it? That's another
it.
one.
I mean, let's get some statistical analysis going as well, right? We could
Exactly.
start.
And
We can
even
do a
though
poll.
this one isn't live streamed, because our YouTube channel, BFF Punch, which we made 20 years ago, 25
Yeah,
years ago.
yeah,
It's insane. Even though
yeah.
that was yeah, that was that we haven't uploaded anything for over 20 years on that channel.
Yeah,
So
right.
it basically went, it made me go through all the security to get in, and then it said, and then I was like, make live stream so I could have a test, and it went, you can live stream in 24 hours. Fine. Okay, I'm not sure
And
why, what the
so,
punishment is for, but we will find out. But we'll
yeah,
upload this in a bit, and then we'll upload this to Spotify's podcast. Yes, exactly. We need theme song, artwork, all the professional things for this.
yeah, yeah.
So anyway, I mean, we could start with the wonton touching, could we not?
Oh, we need the intro. Let's get into the intro. Episode 1. BFF BFF Punch.
Podcast. That's it.
That's it. Episode
Perfect.
1. What we're talking about.
Wonton touching, if we want to go from the
Wonton
top.
touching.
Yeah,
What is a wonton?
exactly. That's right. I mean, we could play the original. We don't have to. We could play the original, couldn't we?
How long is it? I forget how long it was.
Let's have a look. Hmm. One moment.
I mean, pretty
This
fun.
is yes.
Text, right?
6 minutes 50.
6 minutes. So what's the process for that? You can upload the audio when you put this on online, or
Well, or we could just listen to it now, like together.
will the audio be good enough?
Yeah, yeah, I think
Everyone.
so. I just need to share. If I share the QuickTime player and I also share sound
Oh
from it
yes.
too,
Yeah, because
then
just so everyone knows, and we have this little running joke that Ant's really technically wizard, like the tech geek, and I'm not. And it winds Ant up when I constantly look for tech support.
Well, except
But
that today you were way ahead of the game, mate.
I'm all over it like a bag of chips.
Exactly. What a lovely snowball microphone you have in front of you.
Yes. I mean, this is probably 15 years old as well, isn't it?
What's that?
The microphone. Phone.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Let's have a look.
Right, give it a shot.
Okay, you ready?
So wait, you probably need to explain a bit what this is about, right?
Yeah,
What
it's
what
true.
do
Oh, why? You didn't explain to me. I just got this randomly.
really just randomly out of the blue, you just received this message from me.
Yeah,
All right, well let's do the same for the dear listener.
exactly. No context at all.
I'll explain the context afterwards.
There you go. Can you see that?
Oh yeah.
It's literally so people can now watch it count down painfully,
Okay.
can't they?
Okay.
My dear boy, I recently, in the last 2 hours while thou hast been asleep, received an email from the Anglican Advisory Panel. They informed me you have been quoting some sort of work for them, that there's a possibility of a collaboration between Creative Stream and the Anglican setup. Now they contacted me asking for reference. I'm afraid I had to be rather transparent in my response. They asked me if any debaucherous, frivolous, degenerative, miscreant type behavior that I might know of that would bring your character into disrepute. And I'm afraid I had to be brutally honest. I couldn't allow mine conscience to be filthed, to be tainted by deception. So when they asked me, I said I'm afraid there was one thing, and one thing alone. I said that you had tried to combat it for many a year, that you had actively engaged in heavy prayer, in ministry, in counseling, in psychotherapy. And I'm afraid that it all came to nothing. It amounted to nothing. And that ultimately, if they could not accept working with you, given your, what shall we say, condition, then they do not believe in a creative God at all, that they should be the ones to question their own belief system, that how can they proclaim to represent God and his church if they do not accept you and the people who they use to help them build their structures and their empires? How? That was what I fed back to them. That is the challenge I threw back in their face. That you had tried everything in your human power to combat this issue. But I'm afraid that it did nothing, and nothing could suppress it. Following my rant, they simply asked, "Pray tell, reveal to us what this is. Maybe we can work with it. We accept your challenge. We shine the mirror back at ourselves and we look at our own views and ethics and morals." So I simply told them, I said, I'm afraid he is a wonton toucher. They had never heard of such a thing. They asked me to elaborate, And I said, put it this way, it's something that he must do every Saturday morning when he goes to Waitrose with his family. They ask him, what's he doing? Where's he going? He tries to fob them off with, go and look at the magazine aisle, or please go and fetch another stem of broccoli for the Sunday roast. And they go off without further question while he runs, simply runs, stampedes his way through the store all the way to the Asian section where he... How long is this? Where he flings himself upon the aisle, upon the shelving collapses because it's not made for humans to use it as a ladder, but he uses it as a heavenly ladder to climb to the top shelf, where he wantonly grabs the packaging, rips it open, and wantonly caresses himself in wontons. He's a wonton toucher, and that, mine Anglican advisory panel, is what he is. He's a wonton toucher! Wonton toucher! He cannot help it. People in the stall stood there looking at him, frothing at the mouth. They can't believe what they're seeing upon a quiet Saturday morning. They cannot believe it. They almost spill their flat white or their cappuccino down their white khaki trousers. Their absolute shock and disbelief that a grown man would do such a thing. One of them even retorts, avert your eyes, Mildred. That's right, they live in a posh area of Sheffield where they name their children posh things. They go to posh schools with posh budgets, and they've never seen a wonton toucher until now. So please, don't hold it against him. Allow him to touch wontons. Allow him to fully express himself, his creative self, his divine self. Is he not in the divine flow? Of course he is. Do not deny him that, my dear Anglicans. Suffice to say, you may receive some sort of response in the next few days. I need to go and rest now. My head is hurting. A migraine is developing. Maybe I should touch wontons. If I touched a wonton, maybe it would relieve my pain, my anguish. Goodbye.
There we are.
Wow. I've totally forgotten about that.
Wow. Avert thine eyes. I can't find the... Oh, there it is.
So I think, probably people need a few minutes to digest that.
They might need to lie down themselves, I feel, after that.
They will.
Exactly.
Maybe they can feel a migraine developing.
Exactly.
So the context of that, I suppose, needs to be explained, right? That
Why?
firstly, let me start with the character that voice is. He'll be interviewed in a few weeks, I believe.
By Byzantine. Is this what you're talking about? Byzantine fentanyl.
Ooh. Essentially, my dear boy, it is I, Byzantine fentanyl. I live below the catacombs of the catacombs below the catacombs of the Natural History Museum. Anyway, enough of that. But yeah, that character that we just
More
came
of
up
that, I say.
was and then that was the whole concept. You were quoting some work for your business.
See, I'm not sure he had a name at that point. And I think when Byzantine fentanyl first turned up, he sounded a little bit like this, really frail and old. And then as time went on, he kind of merged with the this Anglican contact voice that you
Oh yeah, like the age old like
over
dream.
time. That's right. I mean, the thing that gets me is that when you recorded these, you're usually driving along in the car and holding your finger on the button to record because it wouldn't work otherwise. You know what I mean?
But I know now it definitely, you just press it and it records on its
Yeah,
own.
that's it.
I've got both hands safely on the wheel, my dear boy.
I can see like, the phone people, Apple, they're like, there's been a number of accidents that have been reported to us about people who just hold their finger down on the recording while they're moving along, while they're driving, leaving a voice note. Maybe we'll have to change the way that we deliver that.
Yes,
Yes, they did it for you,
I hope so.
Byzantine.
So
Yeah,
yes,
I mean, Byzantine, I should interview Byzantine a little more.
yeah, definitely, yeah.
It's
But
just going,
in a
we'll
few
do it
weeks.
more, but go and grab him.
Okay, hang on.
All right.
Come on, Byzantine, get this end up, lad. I have just woken from my slumber. That's a little bit, it's gone a bit Bane-esque, hasn't it? Yes,
So, dear Byzantine, how long exactly have you been sleeping? How long have you been slumbering?
I've been asleep below the catacombs of the Natural History Museum for over 20,000 years. And I've emerged recently to, to advise the Anglican Advisory Panel.
The Anglican, aren't they? I think they're part of a global conglomerate, though. Are they not?
Sure they are, but I cannot remember.
Yeah.
Betwixt and betwixt such, I must enforce thee to consider reviewing the data, reviewing the information that once precedeth thee.
And
I think
how you're based at the Natural History Museum.
that's the other
Part
thing
of
we
me
need
wonders how.
to break character.
Uh,
That there's the way that Byzantine talks. I just linked onto this idea of taking old English, like Shakespearean style English, and then just making up words. So like thee and thou would
Aye.
just be have thee, thou, and then I'd be like thou'st, and then them,
Themst.
and then like hapst. Hapst thou seen me? Like
Seen,
have you seen me? Things like that.
seen,
Seen, yeah.
seen
I
me.
mean, feel free to play with it during the week. I'm sure when we do it live, people can comment on their own, add their own
Exactly.
little phraseologies, as Byzantine would say.
So we're not promoting this podcast at all. So it's going to be interesting to see if anyone actually turns up on it.
I know.
Exactly.
All good fun. All good fun. I
Totally.
mean, something fun. Like, I really wish the actual accent that I had wasn't a Northern English accent. Not because there's anything wrong with that. I'm very proud of it, lad, you know.
Well,
But,
exactly.
but more, I wish I had that kind of public service announcement wartime. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a public service announcement. Wish I had that kind of voice just every day, no
I
matter
wonder
where
how
you
you would have got through life if you had that kind of voice.
go. I know.
Like, oh, hey, James, we'd love to, we're interested in your product. Yeah, that's lovely. Yes, let me talk you through it a little bit now.
Yeah.
First of all, you get this little piece of wood, and you can see here the way that it doesn't absorb moisture in the same way that other wood would. You see,
Wood. Yes, you know.
exactly.
Quite remarkable. One takes your saw, cuts through it with a knife, places it on the building, screws it on, and hey ho. Yeah. So good. Like, imagine if you're just going down the shops and you're like, "Excuse me, young man, I'd like to buy a pound of chicken, please." Can you imagine in this day and age? Like,
With wood fiber insulation like this, they would have had them on the beaches, and no one would have got their feet wet, would they?
I see you're referring to a business I once had.
I may well have done.
Yes. We can talk about that in another podcast. Although we're not supposed to be serious. It's supposed to be
Exactly.
nonsense.
It's just utter nonsense. We need characters, and we need to dive into the characters a little bit
yeah.
like Byzantine here. But talking about characters, my character that you made up, I had to, with my incident in Waitrose, as one would say, this is something that it's now really hard to go there. We used to, Carol and I used to have, we used to go to Waitrose to buy the odd thing that you can't get in cheaper supermarkets, and we'd call it Waitrose. But since this recording has come out and become public and become worldwide phenomenon and went viral, I can't show my face there anymore.
Yeah.
Right?
That's it. All the posh children, like the Mildreds and the Hunstantons, like avert their eye.
Tristans, yes, exactly.
Cracks me up that like you're advising your family. I can just picture it now. Like you're going in on the weekend, you're like, go and fetch another stem of broccoli
For the Sunday roast. It is a Sunday now, and we will be having a Sunday roast, and maybe we need to pop to Waitrose.
You do.
Because we're out of carrots or something,
Yeah.
or lemon scented ironing water or something, and we need it. So
yeah. What I like about that whole narrative though is the idea in my mind was this kind of play on what's acceptable in society versus something that's totally innocent and not anything dodgy at all, like a wonton, and then like creating this whole crazy drama that you're in secret, you've got this wonton touching fetish that's not really a fetish because that implies that it's sinister, but it's not. It's wonton.
Maybe it's a base need. That's what it is.
Exactly. Yeah, from that tiny little totally immaterial scenario, it grows into this whole dialogue of like whole Anglican panels freaking out, people unsure what to do, and it's hilarious.
I remember putting that he ran, simply stampeded his way to the Asian section, and I put that into AI to generate an image, and all the images that came back were me as an Asian person. It just wouldn't do anything otherwise than that.
That was back in the day when the hallucination rates were like 60 to 70%.
Hallucination rates?
Yeah. ChatGPT hallucinates when AI models like that, when they hallucinate, that's what it's called, when it glitches out and it can't, you remember the images back in the day, you'd say photorealistic image of a person, and it'd come back and it'd have like 5 hands and
that's right, extra fingers and things like that. Yeah.
So that was called hallucination. Apparently
So
that rate.
Oh yeah. Go on.
Where it's, I don't know what the statistics are. Someone must know. But anyway.
Well, we do have a future episode called Downward Spiral, AI Downward Spiral.
Oh yeah.
One of our yeah, exactly. How silly can it get? So, exactly.
Anyway.
Yes. So but I think we should probably throw ourselves into the characters in the future. Straight off. Not mess about, but just jump head first straight in.
Yeah.
Exactly. Now that would be fun. And then we can just see if we're any good at improvising in the moment. So yeah.
Well, it's not to be a party pooper for the first episode, but what's the sort of format? We're hoping for what, 20 minutes, half an hour?
Yeah, that kind of thing. Perfection.
Where are we up to now, dear boy?
I don't know. It's not telling me. Sorry.
Can't you remember when we started? Can't you remember when we started? I assume it was 10 minutes past the hour.
I reckon it's half an hour, man. I think we're good. But we've just introed it. We've got a theme song. We've done the introduction. It's just, it's absolutely perfect. And next time we'll try and do it as a live stream. See what happens, eh?
And maybe now is a perfect time for me to out-eject and play the theme song. BFF, 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 BFF Punch
Podcast. I nearly forgot I had one job. Right, until next time, dear listeners, we love you very much. Farewell.